Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful cardigan. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to get started with our yarn as well as a 4mm crochet hook. I'll also leave links in the description box below on where you can get these items. So we're going to get started by working on our arms, and I'm going to start by making a slip knot. And you can do this in whichever way you prefer. And then go ahead and make 93 chain stitches. To make a chain stitch, simply yarn over and pull through for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we're going to continue like that until we have 93 chains in total. Now, after completing the 93 chains, know that this represents the length of the arms for the cardigan that we're about to make. Now you can go ahead and add additional chains if your arms are longer, or do less chains if your arms are shorter. So you can go ahead and measure this against yourself to see if this works for you as well. Now once completed, go ahead and skip the first chain, so the first chain which is here, and in the second chain we're going to do a single crochet. To do a single crochet, insert your hook inside that second chain and pull up a loop. Now that's going to leave you with 2 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull the yarn through both loops. That does a single crochet, and then we're going to go ahead and take a marker and place it on the first stitch. Now we're going to go ahead and continue doing single crochets until we have 12 chains remaining. So in the next stitch, the chain stitch, we pull up a loop with 2 loops on the hook, we yarn over and pull through both. Pull up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, we yarn over and pull through both. Pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops. So we're going to continue doing that. That's how you do a single crochet. We're going to continue doing our single crochets going all across the row until we have 12 chain stitches remaining. Now once we have 12 chain stitches remaining, we're no longer going to be doing our single crochets. Instead, we're going to complete the row with slip stitches. To do a slip stitch, simply insert your hook inside the next chain and pull through a loop, and then we're going to pull that loop through the loop that was already on our hook, so like that. On our first slip stitch, I'm going to go ahead and place a marker. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and in our last chain, 12. Now once completed, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn our work, and we're going to do 12 slip stitches going all the way up until we get to our marker here. So to do that, go ahead and insert your hook through the middle of the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and we're going to pull it through. And what this will do is that it will create a ribbing pattern here. So in the next stitch, again, we insert our hook right through the middle. We pull up a loop. We're gonna pull that through the loop that was already on the hook. So I'm gonna continue doing my slip stitches. Until we get to our marker. And once we get to the stitch where our marker is on, just remove the marker and complete your last slip stitch. Once completed, you can go ahead and place your marker back on. Some of you won't need a marker. I like to use it because it lets me know where to start the count for my 12 slip stitches or where to end it depending on where I am. Now once you've done your last slip stitch of the row, we're going to be doing a ribbed pattern for our arm, and we're going to do that by doing our single crochets, but we're going to do that from inside the stitch. So from inside the stitch here, insert your hook right through the middle like that, pull up a loop and complete your single crochet. So again, we insert our hook right through the middle and complete our single crochet, pull up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, we yarn over, pull the yarn through both loops. A single crochet is really easy to do. So you can go ahead and continue your single crochets through the middle of the stitch, creating that rib pattern, going all the way up until we get to our marker here. Now once completed, go ahead and chain 1, and then we're going to turn or work, and we're going to repeat exactly what we did before. So the same pattern is done in each row for our arms. So that's where we do our single crochet ribbing going all the way down to our marker, and then we do our slip stitches to end the round. So in that first stitch of the row here, I'm going to insert my hook right through the middle and pull up a loop to complete my first single crochet, and then I'm going to place a marker back on that first stitch and continue doing my single crochets going across the row. So again, that's where you insert your hook right through the middle of the stitch like that, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. So I'm going to go ahead and continue my single crochets, the ribbed pattern, going all the way down until we get to our marker here. Now, once we get to our marker here, we know that it's time to start our slip stitches. So I'm going to remove my marker, and in my next stitch, I'm going to be doing my slip stitch, my first slip stitch of this row. So I'm going to insert my hook through to the middle, pull up a loop, and then I'm going to pull that through the loop on our hook. This is my first slip stitch, and I should have 12 slip stitches in total going down. So that's 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and in our last stitch, 12. Now once completed, chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to do 12 slip stitches going up. So again, through the middle of our stitch, we pull up a loop, pull that through the loop on our hook for 1, 2, 3, 11, And we're going to remove our marker for the last slip stitch where we do our 12th slip stitch. I'm going to place my marker back on the stitch there. And then I'm going to do my single crochet ribbed pattern where I insert my hook through the middle, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull the yarn through both loops. And I'm going to continue this going all the way across the row. Now this is what our work looks like after completing 55 rows. And now we're going to go ahead and sew the sides here together to complete our sleeve. Now I just went ahead and completed my last single crochet for the ribbed pattern here. And now I'm going to chain one and turn my work. I'm also going to fold my work in half. So like so. And from the top here, I'll be doing single crochets going all the way down to create my seam here. So to do that, go ahead and insert your hook on this side in the first stitch. So right here. And then we're going to insert our hook through the middle of the stitch on this side. So like that. Yarn over and pull up a loop. And complete your single crochet. And we're pretty much going to repeat that going down until we get to our marker here. So I'll do a few more. In the next stitch on this side we insert our hook under the stitch, and on this side we're going to go ahead, insert our hook through the middle of the stitch, pull through a loop, and complete the single crochet. Now, once we get to our last 12 stitches, we're going to remove our marker, and then we're going to close out the round in the same way that we've done before, but instead of doing it with a single crochet, we'll do so with a slip stitch. So I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch here, and in the stitch beside it, I'm going to be inserting my hook through the middle. That's on the stitch where the marker was. Pull up a loop, and then I'm going to pull that through the loop that would have already been on the hook, and I'm pretty much going to repeat that going all the way down. So that was one. Two. Three. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9, 10, 11, and in our last stitch here, 12. Now you can just go ahead and cut your yarn, pulling it all the way through. Now we're going to go ahead and get started on the back and front panels of our cardigan. We're going to start by making 71 chain stitches. So our foundation chains should look like this. I would have shown you how to do a foundation chain in the beginning of this video. So if you're a beginner, you can just go ahead and head back and look at how that's done. Now, go ahead and make a single crochet in each stitch going across the row. We will be skipping that first chain stitch that's right there, but in every other stitch we're going to be doing a single crochet. So pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. I'm also going to go ahead and place a marker on that first stitch, and then I'm going to continue doing my single crochets going across the row. So by now you should be familiar with how to do a single crochet. So just go ahead and continue that in each stitch going across the row. Now once you get to the end of the row, go ahead and chain 1, turn your work, and then in the first stitch there we're going to do our ribbed single crochet. So that's where we do the single crochet from the inside of the stitch. So I'm going to pull up a loop and complete my single crochet, and then I'm going to take a marker and place that on the first stitch. Now go ahead and continue to do your single crochet ribbed stitches going across the row. So we're going to continue that until we get to here. Now go ahead and chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to repeat exactly what we've done before. So for the front and back panels, all we're going to be doing are these ribbed single crochet stitches going across the row. So this is what your back panel should look like after completing 78 rows. Depending on the size of your back or torso, you may make this smaller or bigger depending on how large you want the cardigan to be. You can decrease a few rows or add additional rows to make it larger. Now for our front panel, we're going to start by doing 20 rows, and then we're going to continue our pattern as normal where we chain 1 and turn our work. I'm going to go ahead and do that single crochet in the first stitch there and place a marker back on the stitch. And then I'm going to continue my single crochet ribbed pattern until I have 20 stitches remaining. So go ahead and continue the pattern as normal until you have 20 stitches remaining. Now I've completed the row and I have 20 stitches remaining, but I'm not going to continue or ribbed pattern as we've been doing. Instead, at this point, I'm going to chain one and turn my work. Now, this is where the pattern will change slightly. In the first 2 stitches, I'm going to go ahead and do a single crochet 2 together. Now, the way that we do that is by inserting our hook inside this first stitch here, pulling up a loop, and in the stitch beside it, we're going to go ahead and pull up a loop as well. And now we're going to have 3 loops on our hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. I'm also going to go ahead and place a marker on that stitch. What this is going to do is that it's going to be a decreased stitch, and that's for the front part of our cardigan. Now, after we've done this decreased stitch here, or the single crochet 2 together, we're going to continue or ribbed single crochets as normal, going across the row. Now I've completed my stitches going across the row, and this is my last stitch here. So I'm going to chain one, turn my work. I'm going to continue doing my single crochet ribbed pattern. This is the first stitch where I'll start by doing my single crochet from the middle of the stitch. I'm going to place my marker back on this stitch here. Now we're going to continue this until we have 2 stitches remaining. So go ahead and continue doing this single crocheted ribbed stitch pattern until we have 2 stitches remaining. Now with 2 stitches remaining, I'm going to go ahead and remove my marker, and then I'm going to do our single crochet 2 together in those 2 stitches in the same way that we would have begun the row before. It's how we're going to end it here. So insert your hook inside that first stitch and pull up a loop, then insert your hook inside the second stitch and pull up a loop. We'll have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops, and that's how we'll end the row. Now chain one, turn your work, and to begin the row at this point we're going to do our single crochet 2 together. So insert and pull up a loop, and in the stitch beside it we insert and pull up a loop. With 3 loops on the hook, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. I'm going to place my marker back on that stitch there, and then continue my ribbed stitch pattern going across the row as normal. So that single crochet 2 together is only done to end and start the row, and that's at the top here. And that's because it's going to create a V-like or a diagonal pattern there that's going to give the shape of the front of the cardigan. So again, go ahead and continue the pattern as normal. When we get to the bottom of our work, that's done normally. There are no decreases that are needed at the bottom, but at the top we go ahead and do our single crochet 2 together to end the row, as well as to begin the row. Now I completed 20 rows going across here. Now once we get to the rows where we do our decreases, go ahead and complete 10 rows like that. Now in the end, this is what our front panels will look like, and you're going to need 2 in total. They're done in exactly the same way. So you'll see that the pattern is the same here. And then we're going to put 1 on both sides. Now we're going to go ahead and get started with putting each of the pieces we've made so far together. So first we're going to get started by threading a crochet needle, and then we're going to sew the top here, so our front panel to the back panel at the top, we're going to sew it going across here and across here. And once we get to the end here, we're just going to close out the round. So go ahead and make a knot. And then we're going to cut the yarn and repeat this sewing pattern with the front panel that's on this side. Now once both sides have been completed, go ahead and take your sleeve, and I'm going to show you how to attach it to your work. Now you want to ensure that your sleeve is on the wrong side. So you'll see where we have the seam here. And aligning that, I'm just going to go ahead and place the portion where the seam is. The seam is right here. We want that to fall right on the side of our work. So starting from the top, and we're going to do this going all the way around, I'm just going to sew these pieces together. Now once we've sewn our way down to the end here, we're going to insert our needle through our last stitch on this side, as well as through our stitch on this side. And we want to take that all the way through to the back panel as well. Pulling it all the way through. And then we're going to turn our work. And continue the sewing pattern on this side for where our back panel is. And the arms, we're going to continue that sewing pattern going all the way up. Now once you get to the top, you can choose to continue sewing the pattern going all the way down again if you want some extra security. For me, however, I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn at this point. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew the sides together from the top here, going all the way down. So continue that going all the way down, and once completed, repeat the same on this side. Now after attaching both sleeves, we're going to go ahead and work on the ribbing that goes all around. I'm actually going to start by working on the ribbing pattern that's going to go all around the bottom part here. Now we're going to start by making a slip knot, and then we're going to chain 13. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And now we're going to do slip stitches going all across the row. So remember, to do a slip stitch, we simply insert inside that first stitch there. We're going to pull up a loop. Then we're going to pull that loop through the loop already on the hook. I'll also be placing a marker on my first slip stitch of the row. And then I'm going to do a slip stitch in each chain going across the row. So this is the second one, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, this is our 10th slip stitch, 11 and 12. So we'll have 12 slip stitches in total, and after completing that, simply chain 1. You're going to turn your work, and then through the middle of the stitch we're going to do a slip stitch. So pull through a loop and then pull that through the loop already on the hook. We would have done this type of stitch on our sleeve, so this should be fairly simple to do. I'm going to go ahead and continue doing slip stitches across the row. For the bottom ribbing, it's going to be 12 slip stitches in each row. And again, I'll do that going all the way down. Once I get to that last slip stitch there, I'll just remove my marker and complete my last slip stitch of the round. And then I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and repeat. So you can go ahead and continue the pattern until it's long enough to go all the way around your cardigan. Now this is what your work will look like after completing it to the point that it goes all around. For me, I've completed 284 rows going all the way across, and I'm going to show you how to do your attachment to the bottom section of your work. Now go ahead and thread your crochet needle, and starting from the very outer corner, we're just going to sew the pieces going all the way around. By now you should be pretty familiar with the sewing pattern that's most comfortable for you. Go ahead and continue that with your ribbed pattern, going all the way around your work. Now once you've completed the bottom ribbing, we're going to work on the ribbed pattern that goes all the way around, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a bit. Just note that the sewing pattern should go to where the inside falls for your cardigan. because once you turn it inside out, it will pretty much look like this. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do the ribbing pattern for the portion that goes all the way around. Now I've already gone ahead and created the ribbing pattern this goes all the way around the neck and the front parts of our work. It also includes little holes here, and this is where we will place our buttons. Now I'm going to show you how to do this on a sample. I'm going to show you how to work to get these little holes included in our work, and after you've created enough for our buttons, then the pattern just continues of doing slip stitches only. So I'm going to show you on a sample how to get that done. Now taking your yarn, we're going to start by making our slip. And I'm going to chain 11. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to skip that first chain, and in the second chain I'm going to do a slip stitch. Now I'm also going to go ahead and place a marker on that first slip stitch that I did, and then I'm going to do my slip stitches going across the row. So this is how we normally do our slip stitches to start, so you can just go ahead and continue that going across the row. Now once you've completed your slip stitches going across the row, you should have 10 slip stitches in total, and then we're going to chain 1, we're going to turn our work, and we're going to continue the pattern where we do a slip stitch in each stitch going across the row. So our first 2 rows will be slip stitches only, so we should have 10 slip stitches in this row as well. Go ahead and continue that going across the row. I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and start by doing a slip stitch. So this should be a pattern that you're fairly familiar with by now. I'm going to place that marker on the first stitch. Now in this row, we're going to add that section where we're going to place a hole in it for our buttons. So I'm going to start by doing 5 slip stitches. I've already done my first one. So that's 1. This is 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now once you've completed 5 slip stitches, go ahead and chain 2, 1, 2. We're also going to skip 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to do a slip stitch in the last 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, and in the last stitch, I'm going to remove my marker. We're going to go ahead and do our 3rd slip stitch. Now that's what's going to create that hole or space there for our buttons. And then we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and we're going to do a slip stitch in each stitch going across the row. On our first stitch, I'm going to place my marker back on the first stitch there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and removing my marker, I'm going to go ahead and do the 10th slip stitch in the last stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and I'm going to do a full set of slip stitches going across the row. Now once you've done your first row, go ahead and continue until you've done 20 rows in between where we have our holes there for our buttons. So this would have been the first row that I just completed there. You want to go ahead and create 20 rows in total. Now once you've completed your 20 rows, we're going to go ahead and do another row where we'll include a hole here for our buttons. So we'll chain 1, turn our work, and then we're going to do 5 slip stitches. So this is our first one. I'll place my marker back on that first slip stitch there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After doing 5, we chain 2, 1, 2. We skip 2, 1, 2, and in the stitch beside it, we do a slip stitch. So we'd have 3 slip stitches to do here, with that being our first. So that's 1, 2, and in the last one, we do our third. So it's fairly simple to do. Again, on the larger swatch here that I would have worked on, you'll see that I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes I would have created for my buttons, and after doing the 5th one, I just did slip stitches in each row going across to complete the pattern. So you can go ahead and do that as well, and then I'll show you how to go ahead and attach this part to our work. Now, taking a threaded crochet needle, that's what you're going to use to sew the ribbed pattern you would have just created to your work. So we're going to do that sewing pattern in the same way that we would have done our sleeves, as well as the ribbing at the bottom part here. Now what's important is that where we have the holes created for our buttons, right, we're going to place those on the outer part of our work. So you'll see where we would have done our 5 slip stitches here, left a space here for our buttons, and then we would have done 3 more slip stitches going to the side there. We want to place this part where the hole is on the outer corner. Now once you've established that, you can just go ahead and sew the pieces together, and that's going to go all the way around. So it's going to come all the way up here, going all the way around. So again, this is a sewing pattern you should be familiar with by now. We're going to go ahead and continue that, going all the way around. So we started at the very bottom of our ribbing pattern here, and we're going to end at the very bottom on this side. So I went and sewed the ribbing pattern on our work here, and this is what the final product looks like. Now I also went ahead and sewed some buttons to the opposite side. So this is the side with the holes that we would have just worked on, and this is the side with the buttons. It's the only thing that's important here is that you have to ensure that the buttons align with the holes. We would have done or holes in between 20 rows of slip stitches. The buttons should have that same placement as well. So you can just go ahead and add buttons of your choice to your work, and it will come out the final result looking like this. Now I'll go ahead and leave some snippets of how this work looks on me all together. See, the ribbing pattern goes all around the neck here and continues all the way down. I'm gonna leave some snippets of how this cardigan looks on me, so that you'll have an idea of how that looks. I also would have left some snippets in the intro of this video, but that's pretty much it, guys. If you found this tutorial helpful, please go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!